Right, right. Yeah, 2020 got us here, I think, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it spurred us along. I actually want to know a little bit about you and what you're doing.
Oh, so I do this. So the art thing that we met off of, that's what I started doing because of 2020 is like a self-help therapy to keep my mind busy. And I want to keep doing that, but more so I started a film company and it was based for the youth in the area because there's like a film group in the area, but it's kind of like very niche, I guess you could say. You know, it has its clicks in it. And I
Mhm.
wanted something for like to introduce the youth to it because I had to learn everything on my own with my first job out of college. I mean, I had to do everything. I just got thrown, I was a graphic designer, but got thrown into a job as a videographer. And I was running a site and doing this, but it was such a manic thing for me at the moment that I didn't really know that it was going to end up being something I wanted to do in the future. So we had a bunch of films going on. We've been doing this for like since 2017. So 3 4 years now, and we're finally going to start airing everything.
Cool.
Yeah, it's through the website, but it's not just a film group. It's like people that do art. It's just a bunch of different people in general. So like a lot of people in this, you know, if you have the skills to do art things, it's a journey, especially in South Carolina, because it's not really pushed at all. It's more sports. So
Yeah,
yeah.
South Carolina, I was looking for different places to live because, well, I live in Chicago. And
Oh, that's awesome. You live in Chicago. There's always something to do.
well, there is always something to do, but it has its pluses and minuses. So I mean, the scene, the art scene, the culture. I mean, you can drive, hop on the train and see, people will just start telling you about the buildings and different things. I mean, the museums you can't beat. So as far as the culture, it's wonderful. But she'll eat you alive. Don't make any mistakes about it.
Really?
Oh yeah, she has teeth. She can. I mean, it depends on what scene you are in, what neighborhood you wind up landing in. If you ever decide to move, it's always good to have a little backup.
Wow. Are you originally from Chicago or did you move to
Yeah, I was born and raised here. I've traveled a lot though.
Okay.
I'll be dating myself, but I was an old deadhead. I traveled.
Oh wow, that's awesome though. That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I was able to hitchhike in VW buses to get from point A to point B. I did rainbow gatherings, which is a little different. There were basically a whole bunch of hippies in the woods, and we would gather like 20,000 strong every 4th of July, and it was unity. It was grabbing us together. It was people from all over. It was basically like a moving Burning Man.
I like that's awesome.
It was absolutely wonderful. So I did that every year. Then I had a kid and I stuck him in a backpack and I was like, okay, have boob, we'll travel. And so we traveled and until he got into grade school and then I settled down. But yeah,
That's
traveling
awesome.
hippie.
No, that is awesome. You have stories out the wazoo. I know that. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. You gotta give me a story time one day. You gotta give
Yeah,
me a
I
good
would
story time.
love
'Cause I know
to.
you do. I know you got some.
Whatever angle you need, I have a couple because I just like, and it's funny, I have a very professional job. I'm in healthcare. So I
Ah,
do dental right now. And I'm like, so it adds a really interesting aspect. I'm like, oh, I have to clean up my act.
yeah, especially when you're an artist. Do you ever deal with I think I deal with it from time to time, like the imposter syndrome?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's so like, I don't know, it feels like you're like in a different world. You're like, what am I doing right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're one way and then you have to society has that way of doing that to us, I think.
It really does. That's why I try to push. I really stood at the forefront of, I was picketing for legalizing marijuana for way back when you could get arrested for that kind of stuff.
Wow.
I was like at the forefront of women's rights in Portland. I was basically food not bombs trying to feed the homeless. I would dumpster dive and try to collect food because I was like, you people are wasting stuff. The whole stevia thing, I was at the forefront of trying to get them not to lock down stevia. So basically, you can't grow a stevia plant for sugar. And before you were able to grow it, now it's illegal, kind of like pot. And a lot of people don't know that. And that was part of the whole movement of grassroots, trying to basically have medicinal plants. There's some medicinal plants that you can't own right now and that are good for you to help you get off pharmaceuticals.
Yeah,
I'm
I
also
can only imagine. I can
so
only imagine.
that's the kind of thing. And doing art was trying to push that. I mean, I like Catholicism. Basically, oh, there's a piece I want to ask you about too. I would love to pick your brain. I haven't done my video because I would love to know your opinions on the male archetype, because I'm doing a piece on male and female. It's basically the divine masculine, and it's so condescended to. People talk about women's rights and how women are condescended to. We don't have a positive male role model.
In what way, though? And to what extent do you mean?
Basically, male, in my opinion, I have a very good husband, and I have a lot of really good male influences in my life. But then you have the, you know, how can I say this? I'm trying to say this in a good way. Just recently, of the last 4 years, we've had dictatorship. We've had overly strong masculine presence in Washington, where it's just a whole bunch of 65 and older male gentlemen trying to pass laws that do not affect them at all. We have the sports mentality. We have the body image. What is beautiful for the male body. We have they always have to be strong. Don't cry. You're the provider, or you're a thug, or all of these different things. And it's just like, so this is the piece that I have on a speed paint. I'm doing some sacred geometry.
I love sacred geometry, obviously. I love sacred geometry.
So, and I do speed painting on glass. This is just a glass panel. And so I do speed painting. I'm going to be doing this next. It's speed painting on glass, but I was trying to form my words. I was like, so what are your thoughts on that?
The divine masculinity?
Yeah.
It's everything's a spectrum on that, that's the same with women. And, when women in history, they try to put out that you are like, have to look a certain type, a certain body type, a certain figure, a certain, to define femininity. It's a spectrum. You can't just say it's this one thing. So even with being a man that is on the spectrum so heavily, so I'm at a free fall with this whole society, with everything, with trans coming in, with all the communities. I'm just like, it's a lot. It's a lot of influx of different people. I mean, LGBTQ has turned into LGBTQ, a lot of other terms I still need to learn. So it's a spectrum. I mean, if you go back in history and you look at different rulers and kings, the oracle was what would appear to be like a transgender in this time period. Someone that would foretell them, if they did this is how they would win the battle. So that means it's always been in history. It's always been around. If it's been, dawned all the way back then. So I don't know, like the divine masculine, should there be a role model? That's the question. Should there really be a role model of it? Because if you do give it a role model, that means we're doing the same thing that we've done to women, that we've done to Black men, that we've done to gays, that we've done to every other type. But I see it as I get what you mean, though, from a symbolic standpoint for the sake of the art. Yeah. What would you want to do to define that? And I mean, that's the artist's choice. That's the power of art,
I just wanted, to say good things about it because I see it condescended to. So I was a single mom raising a son. And, his father was, very much, boy, and sports and Eagle Scouts and this, that, and the other. And I was just like, yeah, no box. We're going to have him, get a smattering of all sorts of different stuff. So he was a traveling hippie child from way back. And it was really funny. I mean, he's gone to like Burning Man and different
that's so awesome.
Festivals as a kid, running naked baby, and it's so funny because I took him to Gen Con, which is a gaming convention, and he's walking around, he goes, Mom, these are my people. And I was like, I raised a gamer. I was like, yay, you found your people.
That's awesome. So is he still a gamer now?
Yeah, he's still a gamer. He's actually more of an inventor. He got heavy into steampunk and makes these giant foam costumes. Yeah, he made giant foam costumes, and we did steampunk. We dressed up together as, of course, and we did this. I used to do steampunk stained glass boxes.
I saw
I
that on
would,
your website. I love that steampunk box that you did. That was amazing.
yeah, I don't have any anymore because I kind of tried to ebb and flow, but I was in the Oshkosh Museum, and I was just like on my website, I didn't realize it, but I have like articles written about me, and I have like, I'm a 3-time award-winning artist, talk about imposter syndrome. And I'm like, well, what do I do with it now? It's not helping me.
I mean, it's the same idea, I think, of like artists when you get that big award, when any actor gets their big award, they finally think like, it's like, well, you kind of hit the point. I guess it's all downhill from here. But I mean, when you're creative like us, it's kind of like you said, it ebb and flows. It comes in and out all the time. Like I was watching that one video you did. What was it called? Let me see if I still have it up. I don't have it up. But it was the one where you were just talking about the struggles of artists, being an artist. And I like how you ended it because you were saying how important it was, to just set it down, walk away from it, and know when to come back when you feel it in spirit. And that's one struggle I think every artist has, because when you're inspired and you're excited, it's like you get that when you get stuck at a point,
Mm-hmm.
you just get stuck and you're like, well, okay, wait. But the fact that you said that just really inspired me, because I was like, that's what I always try to do. It's the hardest thing to do, to walk away from something that you love doing, that you just want to get done. But when it's not coming to you, you just have to take a break.
It's yeah, being an artist, learning how to self-care, learning how to ebb and flow. I actually was going to start a piece on Monosomy and the Nine Muses. And what inspired me to do this was the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, because
Okay.
she talked about like, and it refers to what we're doing, like starting from zero. You've got 1 plus 1 plus, and you have this pendulum, right? You
Yeah.
have a whole bunch of success, like Eat, Pray, Love, right? And
Uh,
then she made
Gina's my
another
favorite.
book, right? And then she made another book, and it didn't, it wasn't a bestseller, but she still wrote it. She still dedicated time to art. She still opened up because there's a story that needed to come through her. So it's like we experience this a lot as artists, and we're constantly, pushing that pendulum. And sometimes when it doesn't, it's like, okay, how do we fill our cup? Because we're pouring out so much, we're like a fountain, and sometimes it dries up and you're like, hello, any muse, anyone, anywhere?
It's kind of like, that's why I don't do competitions, art competitions, or put my stuff, just because it's like so depressing when you don't get where you're going with it. Because it's like, well, what am I doing this for? Why am I here? But I guess we have to find a way to get the self gratification, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Can you keep it going? And for her to have written that one book, which was amazing, and the movie was amazing, it's one of my favorites of all time. Actually, it's in my top 10. Eat, Pray, Love is definitely in my top 10.
Yep.
But whatever else she wrote after that, to not but still put that love into it, that's where, that's what matters the most. That's the legacy we leave behind with what we create. That's the legacy of what we leave behind. And it may be that one thing that gets the center of attention, but everyone deserves that light to like shine more, so you can really see what inspired them, who they were, because everything, it takes all the mixture of all the struggles and all the situations we go through to like make anything make sense and for us to create,
Yeah,
that's like, go ahead.
yeah, no, it is. She referred to eating the shit sandwich. And you know what I mean? It's just
Being an
like,
artist is eating the shit sandwich.
it is. It's eating a shit sandwich, and basically it's honing your craft, it's dedicating the time, it's, taking your frustrations, it's, making time for art and giving yourself a dedicated space. I mean, I know we would have more artists in the world if we could just get over that one piece.
I
Because
think,
people,
what do you think about this? Do you think art and sports are like the complete opposite? But at the same time, we've turned the competition, we took in the idea of the competition and put it in the music with like American Idol and stuff like that. And we've done it with film festivals. We do it to like, do you feel like that takes away from people wanting to do art? Or do you feel like it's just an ego game then? do you feel like it's good for society, good for the artists and to society, or do you feel like it kind of takes away from, like, you miss out on a lot of other great art? It falls under the radar. What do you think? It's just, do you feel like it's a good thing, the competition in art, or do you think it's like takes away from
Well, I've done competitions. I've done art competitions. I've done jury art shows. So somebody is jurying, somebody is deciding whether you're worthy enough to participate in a show to begin with. And it's expensive. You know, when you do, I've done fine art shows, 57th Street Art Festival is like the top 10 in the USA. And
Wow.
I've gotten into them, but I had to jury in, I have to have, you know, just to get to that point, it really does weed out the people who shouldn't, like, that aren't doing art on a certain level. But does that mean that that level isn't art? No, absolutely not. Um,
Mm,
you know, in the
yeah.
competition, it's just we are competitive, and it makes, I think that it's a double-edged sword because everybody needs a place to show what they're doing. But to what, you know, I think we need to get more of a grassroots movement to express art. You don't always need to sell it. You don't always need, you know, what do you want to do with it? It's like, what's your goal? And it's just like, oh, if you're not making money, you're not an artist. Oh, if you're not full time, you're not an artist. And it's just like, well, what do you, I like doing art part-time and working my job part-time because I have a schedule to push against. I've been a full-time artist for a couple of years and it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't fun because I was in a free fall, and I'm not, I've done enough free fall. I like some consistency. I've reached a point in my life where, you know, to dedicate that amount of energy was, you know, and I'm the full-time provider for my household. I take care of my husband and son, and in turn they take care of me.
Is
Holding
that
up,
because of Corona, or just in general, that's how it works out?
it coincided together with Corona.
Wow.
It was
See?
basically, you know, it was just, I was doing really good. I did have, and there's a lot more to my art. My story is thick and weird. I had 3 seniors that I took care of on hospice, and each one passed. And then on a very deep spiritual side, because I helped them cross over. It was very, I dealt with death, and then I learned how to deal with that in channeling art. So I wound up making urns for people.
That's amazing.
And so I'm really big proponent to being a death doula and honoring the person's life. And I don't know what to do with it now. I have this huge push from a spiritual sense of wanting to do this. I don't know how to translate it to YouTube. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to pull some cards and do a reading. I'm like, who am I to say any of that? But I keep getting nudges and like, no, you need to do this. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to do it, but we'll figure it out.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, that's beautiful, because if you think about it, people need to be aware that we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yeah.
We
And,
need to be
and
aware of that. And like, that's a good, I would go for it.
I'm getting a lot of signals. I was just talking to a friend, like I had set up a whole bunch of stuff and I was doing it. And then I was like, oh, I'm just going to put this on the shelf. And she's like, you know, I'm getting this really big hit that you've got another Dark Night of the Soul. And I'm like, I just dealt with loss and this, that, and the other. She's like, no, you've been working with like Persephone. I'm like, no, Manasseh, but she has a river in Hades where you go and you have a choice. You can either collect all your memories of all your lifetimes, but when you do, you get eternal knowledge, and then you have to transcend. You don't get to come back as human, or you get to choose to come back as human. At least some of the fables say so. And I was going to do this whole piece on Manasseh and the 9 muses and how much time and dedication she has done, and what artists draw from. You know, there's a muse for everything, and I was going to like reference just each one that is on my list. And she's like, well, you need to do that because my spirit guides are telling me that you need to do that. I'm like, you're stirring my pot. Shush.
No, she's right. She's right. I can feel that. I can feel that. I always say that I think this is my last go around here. I don't think I'm gonna come back. I think I'm good after this.
Oh, you're not coming. Wait, repeat that last sentence.
I always say I think this is my last time around the sun. I think I'll collect my memories and go on. That's a choice. I'm rather just, yeah, I think I'm good. I get the point.
Yeah, yeah. But you're here now, and what a time to be here. So
What a time to
apparently,
be here. Literally in the middle of history happening. It's just blows my mind. Like to live through 9/11 and this, and then the market crash. It's just, I'm like, great. This is like the prime of my life. And it's just like, holy hell. We don't know if America's going to exist anymore, especially after our last president. So
We survived.
we survived. We survived. Man, we survived a lot of tragedy. 2020 took a hit. 2020 took
Oh,
a
yeah.
hit. I feel like it pulled out a lot of our shadow sides. I feel like it
Yeah.
brought to the forefront a lot.
I think it's that's the positive silver lining, but man, are we going to need some healing and get into the grassroots, because the big corporations, like some of the big restaurant chains, I mean, everybody's pulled out, and we are all looking at things differently. And so when it hits us square in the gut, people are going to be making different choices. And I am very excited. And I've got a lot of such a good feeling that the grassroots movement, like your film school, and getting back into the neighborhoods in the microcosm of what you do, one person to one person to one person. I think because we had to suck into our microcosm, and now we're just like, okay, the 250 friends I thought I had, really I have 5. Okay, now let's take that 5 and turn it back into 10 and keep going to something more real.
Absolutely. I think that's what we're breaking down to. I mean, now that we're at the like end of the industrial revolution and we're moving into like the Aquarius, the age of their consciousness, I think the artists will thrive again. I think we'll be able to like, it'll be a new level of art coming out. I think there's going to be a new wave because, if you look at it, it's technically the roaring 20s all over again.
It is, and we got the Bernie mittens, so I mean that just cracked me up. I don't know about you, but it was just like, you go.
Let me ask you some of these questions that I actually put in the email because we just chat. Not just, how did you get into this type of art form?
Let's see.
The
I'm trying to
DIY
give you like the DIY part. I've always created ever since I was a little child, and I have this weird talent of walking into a store, and when I was 8, Michigan Avenue, downtown Chicago, I seen a kaleidoscope, fell in love, and said, I'm going to do that when I get bigger. And it was a stained glass kaleidoscope, and I do kaleidoscopes as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I haven't had a kaleidoscope in a long time or played with one at all.
Yeah, I do some really funky ones. I've got the double one, and it's a 24 Mandela, and I'm big on geometry. Let me show you really quick, and then I'll get back,
please do.
to the questions. Gotta go to my storeroom.
That's awesome. While we're waiting for her to come back, guys, you definitely need to check out Dawn Donati's work.
So.
What?
It's called a dry cell, and then it's got 2 points. Let's see if I can get a good picture. So it's a double one, and you look at it through both sides and it has, each one is 12 and 12, so you got the 24.
Wow. That's amazing, Dawn. It's beautiful too.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Do you ever go to any like the weed conventions and sell your stuff? Especially that, because I can imagine being high and just looking through that for hours.
You'll be surprised at, actually I tried to focus at, to fine art, because I thought maybe I was going to give it a shot, because I wanted to take things like a stained glass box and push it to its limits to find out how far I could take one like craft or one particular art form, because I thought the metaphor of a box was really cute. And I thought, well, I'm going to put my art. So each top of my box is hand painted, and it has a meaning. Every box has a story. Are you, working on doing your doctorate's degree? I've got a box for that. I have something, and it's just like a reminder. And I like to put my affirmations in there. When I was at the traveling Grateful Dead, I used to make beaded marbles on a chain. Who lost their marbles? I'm just getting gas money for the next show.
Wow.
So I've always pandered, or I was always, what would you call it? A hustler. I would pick flowers from my neighbor's house and knock on their door and try to sell it to them for a nickel so I could get, some candy.
That's awesome. See, that's the type of mindset I struggle with dealing with the youth here, because it's like, I think it doesn't upset me. It frustrates me because it's the initiative. It's the
Yeah.
initiative to go out and get it. And that's what I really want to try and push into them. The idea of take the initiative. No one's gonna go give it to you. You know, you don't have the silver spoon. You weren't born with it. You ain't gonna get it if you don't go out and get it yourself. So that's the mindset I love. That every creative that is successful in some way, shape, or form, wherever they define that is, that's what they have. What you have, or that hustler mindset. And like, because I had to hustle. I remember one time I was working like 3 jobs, and I was like, how am I breathing? I remember that, and I was in school. I was like, how did I do that and live and pass? So
you just, when you're driven, so it's just like you have something to say. Now, not everybody, I've worked with lots of youth, I've worked with lots of different people and trying to push them, and you know, you can lead a horse, but it's like if they're not, you know, it's just like, you've got to do it. If you show it to me, you know, take more of a sage approach. Be like, okay, I've got open arms. If you come to me, I will show you. But if you don't come to me, I am not going to waste my energy. Come to me. And then you almost have to like goat them and be like, I see you got it. And then drop little dewdrops, and you're literally planting a seed. And then you go, when you watch it and then you see it percolate, you're like, I see it. When are you going to come to me? Come on.
Right. That's you put that so well. You put that so well, because that's exactly what it's like. Because when you reach for it, it's like, oh, I'm not sure. I'm like, okay, well, let me just back off and see who comes my way. And preferably, I like it that way, just because it keeps down the confusion and it keeps a balance of personalities. Because if obviously they come to you, you know, they felt the energy that it was going to work. So that I'd rather deal with that than be reaching, because you never know what you're reaching for. You know, it's like putting your hand in a crowd of buckets. You know,
landmines are hard to navigate when you hit them. You're like, whoa, hello, okay, well, yeah, you know, it's just like, not my karma.
Not my karma. So, how long have you been doing YouTube?
I just started March of the 2020.
Okay, so yeah, you got into it as soon as Corona hit.
Yeah, basically I was laid off, and I'm like, well, I have time on my hands and I might as well do this, because I'm not doing art shows, so how am I going to get there? And I was like, I didn't want to put my face on camera. I didn't want to get out there like, you know, you're like standing naked with your heart, and you're like, here, look at, this is all of me. You know, it's like,
do you want it, or are you just gonna let it fall and crash and burn? Every artist is like, we're sensitive about our shit. It's so sensitive.
We are the most insecure people you'll ever know, but yet we'll be like, here's everything.
Right here, just take it. Just take it. This is my heart. Right here.
Here, you know.
That's how I feel all the time. Because I did these videos all throughout. I started, I think like a little bit after summer, doing these videos. And I would slowly edit them. But I was like, I'm not putting them out. I'll wait till next year to put them out, because there's just too much going on in my life. I just need this as therapy to do. Like, I wanted to get back into the love of art, because I was trying to paint and I couldn't get my energy in a place of doing it. So I was like, let me celebrate others. It's time to celebrate others. And I love celebrating others, because in return, it makes me, I don't know, it gives me some type of satisfaction to shine a light on artists. I mean, of all different kinds. So yeah, it took me a while. I had to build up the confidence, and like the first edit of your first video, your videos are very smooth, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
They're very smooth. Like, you have the music, you have everything in there. I was just like, here, camera, ring light, let's just make it work. So yeah. Was there someone on YouTube that inspired you to want to do this, or you just was like, let me try to put myself on camera and just figure it out myself?
I knew a couple of artists at the fine art shows that I did, and I was like, do you do YouTube at all? And she's like, oh yeah, I do like speed painting on YouTube, and I didn't think, and she's like, you need to do YouTube and get on Instagram, and I was just like, oh wow, because you always talk and you exchange ideas and you do different things. So it was one of those things, and then I had to sit and think and make the hard call. It's like, okay, ultimately my goal is to sell art. You can come on in, honey. You could say hi. And this is my hubby. He wanted to say hi.
Hey.
Hey.
This is an artist widow right here.
Yes, this is a shout out to all the artist widows that stand behind their artist.
And we appreciate that. We appreciate that. We all need that experience. We all need someone right beside us to deal with us in our craziness.
Well, you need to make sure that you eat, and make sure that you sleep.
He feeds and waters me.
Okay, this is true. This is important. Sometimes it could be hours, half a day go by, and you realize, like, I haven't eaten anything.
Yeah, you're just like, why are you
Water.
grumpy? Are you hungry? Maybe. To get back to the question, though, love you, baby. Yeah, that just spurred me on, and then I had to think about it. I really sat, and I'm a big proponent to actually sitting in a meditative state, or I'll just sit in my studio, even if I'm not inspired, and I'll think, well, how am I going to get out there? People, I sell art because I talk to people, and they hear the story. How are they going to hear the story? It's like on a web page, they read words. How many people really read words anymore? I have to get out there. And so it was just like, if I want to sell art, or if I want to inspire people to do art, I have to get out there. So that's kind of, I was just like, here we go.
No, I totally understand. It's selling art and creating it are two different things. So that's why I do think, jury, it's such a toss up for me, the whole competition when it comes to art, but it does make you build your skill. It does make you fine tune everything you need to fine tune, because, the long, I don't know who came up with the term, but it's the 10,000 hours of putting in work, which is equivalent to like 5-6 years if you really add it for a good bit of chunk of your day. I think that's 8 hours a day, 5 hours a day to make that work in 5 years, something like that. How many people are really going to put that dedication in something? Because it's either you're really going to be an artist or you're going to have an expensive hobby. And sometimes it's both. But
Yeah,
it's making it work. And then, like so are you ready to jump back into the art shows?
When they're available, not next year. Luckily, because I'm in healthcare, I got a vaccine. And one of you, which is wonderful. But art shows, there's various different art shows, and I would love to do them. I have some favorites, and they basically asked me, that a couple of them came and they're like, do you want to participate? And I'm like, no. They're like, we're trying to get artists, because they're doing booths, they're doing things differently to try to promote it. I was very torn. Not doing it in 2021 because I don't trust people.
What do you mean?
I don't trust their behavior. I don't trust that somebody's not going to sneeze all over me and not going to, come in, and people leave beer cans sometimes. People are just rude, and you have all kinds, especially when there's alcohol or a music festival going on right next door, which sometimes there is. And you have to really defend your space, to try to and then you get the trickle of people who come in that actually appreciate and buy. And then you've got the rest where you have to be like, can I hold that for you? This is glass, and different things. So there's this balance. So I'm not comfortable, because I've done enough art shows to know that people, it's not for, art shows are not for the faint of heart. You have to get up there early in the morning, set up your booth. You have to be there all weather. You've paid a lot of money to sit there, and if they haven't promoted it, sometimes you don't know. You could put your email list out, but some days you just don't know. People get busy, and you could put your 500 emails out there. 10% may show. And so, but I do love the art shows, but I'm waiting for more of a grassroots, like jury art shows are wonderful, but also neighborhood art shows. So there's more going on. In Chicago, we have small neighborhood craft shows that I've participated in that are easy to get in, no jury. It's just you pay your booth fee and you're in, right? And I think that's really great for artists. And they're just like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm here, selling my art. And I was next to somebody who was doing tie-dye t-shirts. And they're like, you should be at fancier shows. I'm like, yeah, but I'm here now. Hi, how's it going? You want to talk about art? It's like, why distinguish? Sometimes I do get feeling a little weird or imposter syndrome. It's like, why am I distinguishing? Why isn't tie-dyed t-shirts art right now? It brings color to your life. You're wearing something beautiful. Somebody else handmade it. This is art that I'm wearing, just because you can do 50 of them in 2 hours doesn't mean it's not something beautiful, and we need more beauty. So, I think I'm really wondering what the grassroots movement, and you're talking to me today, I think is a really good step towards that. because you want to do grassroots movement. I want to do grassroots movement. We got 2 people talking about it. I think we're going to do more now. It's opening up the energy.
Yeah, that's the idea of it. It needs to be a place for people to just feel safe to create and show the appreciation of art. You know, the way that America has it for sports, I kind of wish I did what was in the UK to a degree, just because you know how much they appreciate the artist and the art forms of all. It's just so much more open, I think, internationally than it is here. Everything kind of has like a hierarchy of some sort, and especially the art world, especially because, you know, who is to say, you know, what is high art and what is, you know, well, but then again, that's like saying, are you going to go to a 5-star restaurant? Or are you going to go to McDonald's? So it's a weird, you know, mixture right there. So it's kind of hard to say. It's like, if I had the option for 5-star, I mean, I would kind of pass off on McDonald's. So, and it's like the hobbyist versus the true artist, you know? So.
And there's some hobbyists that rock Etsy, and, you know, they're sitting there, they're sitting there like, boom, 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 here's my product, boom, 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 here's my product. And mine takes a week because I have to put it in the kiln and let the paint dry. And, you know, and it's just like, I go, man, I chose wrong. Someday.
Chose wrong, right. I was like, I wanted to make a film and it took like 7 months. And I was like, whoa. Like my first film, I was like, this is a lot. It's a lot. Scheduling, because if you don't have that big money to pay people, everyone you have to it's that scheduling is the beast. It's a monster. It's a monster. And then you have scheduling, people have lives, they have work, and it's just, everything can go off in 1 second. So it's just being the gratitude and just being able to do this from a grassroots level and see people at different levels. So yeah, that's the one thing I love about it. And I'm definitely. Have you ever heard of this program called Affluent Artists? It's like something that I keep seeing pop up on like Facebook, and I see it pop up on my YouTube. It's like a commercial, and they're like talking about artists online that sell their art a lot and how it's going really well. And they give you like a program they put you in, and to put you out there specifically to people who have the taste. I guess they have the niche audience, but you know, I don't know the niche audience that they're talking about, because I would love to be a part of that too, you know? So we can all make some money and like sell the things we love to create.
Next time you see it, tag me in it. Cause you know, I have a soapbox is, you know, oh, take my program and I'll show you how to rock social media to get yourself out there. Take this program. So many people pander to artists to try to sell them their program to get out there. And that leaves a bitter taste in my mouth, because it's just like, I can't believe you're actually pandering to artists who we struggle so much. And it's just like,
yeah, no, I know what you mean right there, because I've done that because I also bake and I also like cook. I'm really good at that. That was my main income even before Corona. And I was doing a lot of those markets, open markets, like fresh markets and stuff like that. And I got pandered to at one, and someone told me to go to like, what was it, Lancaster, South Carolina, in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. And it was like, maybe I sold half enough of my product to just break even. And I'm like, I spent all day here. I had to drive 2 hours out of my way. And you pandered to me because there was a bigger festival going on down the street that I should have been a part of, that people were actually going to because of some football game, I guess. But no, I'm here with this because you came out of your way. You saw me doing really well at another festival. You pandered to me to get me to pay you to do your small festival. So it's like, I wish there was some hierarchy to stop that shit from happening.
That's learning hard knocks. That's like feathers in your hat, right? That's basically, those are the things that you have to keep out. That happened to me multiple times. You know, I've done venture parties where I've put money into parties and promoted huge parties to not get anything back because, you know, I had people that mismanaged everything, and it was just like, oh, lesson learned, cut my losses. Okay, no, not to do that. Like, don't get into business with anybody else. You know, it's just like, but yeah, that it happens. But you know, everything anybody hands me, I research.
Oh, definitely. Like, now research is like an artist's like job. That's your job. Because if you don't do the research and you just say hand out your money, and you fall on your ass, then it's all on you. It's
Mhm.
all on you. So, yeah.
It's so many hats. You got to put so many hats on, and it's an uphill battle. But I'm really excited because it's just like, yeah, we have more grassroots. And because I've done so many spiritual paths and I walk so many different paths, I'm of the age where people are turning to me for answers. People are turning to me for the guidance. And I'm just like, oh no, I finally got to that point. Uh-oh, when did that happen? I'm the one who has to sit there and do this. I'm the one who gets to share my information. I'm like, am I ready? No. Here we go.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like there's an old saying I heard that you really don't age, you don't change much past the age of 25. Do you feel like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I kind of feel that way too. You
Yeah.
just
I mean,
learn to mature and you learn what not to do and what is okay to do.
mhm,
So, yeah. I think
absolutely.
if you're an a-hole, then you're just gonna be a hole. That's it. Like, I mean, because after everything that's you've learned and acquired knowledge wise and experience, you basically have created your reality because you're like a quarter way through the quarter life crisis, I guess. So, and you can always switch paths, but oof, I feel like I wouldn't know what would you be doing if you weren't doing art.
Um, I would be a salesman of some sort because I do happen to like the sales. I mean, we have this thing called Swaparama, and it's a little flea market, and I would be selling something because I do love. We have this thing called Maxwell Street. I love open markets. I would find an open market to pander something to because I love the interaction of selling. That like gives me a little jolt. I love marketplaces because it is rough. It's not for the faint of heart, but
It's
you're in
not.
there and you're hustle and bustle and you're doing it and you're just like, it took me a long time to practice how to talk to people, how to read people, what to do, how to like suggest different things and let them sit with it and then come back and do all these different things. And I think that's an art form in itself. So I would be doing something to those lines. I would be selling something. I would be, a posh little, skinny little clickety clop with my heels downtown Chicago selling somebody else's art.
Nice. Have you met any art dealers that would want to take you on and try to put you into that realm of fine art?
I've had a couple. I actually interviewed for one. I forgot his name, which is really bad, but it was in the mix of all these different things. He had a studio downtown Chicago, and he does the really big paintings with the moons. Like the moon is always in his paintings, and it's photography, but he digitally does them on huge canvases. And I was talking to them, and they're just like, oh yeah, no, we this particular art, like we'll do this, but there is a 60-40 cut and you're not guaranteed any of your money. It's like, you put your art up there. I read the contract. And then also you cannot sell at any other art shows. You're basically out of the art show market. So because they own the rights to you for whatever the contract of the art is. I mean, some of the art, basically the galleries are very strict there was one in Evanston, Chicago that I couldn't do. There's this huge bubble on a map that I couldn't do any art shows. And that was 4 art shows that 3 or 4 that I couldn't do because I was in this one gallery.
See, God, I feel like all these industries when it comes to the art world are just so shiesty. All of them.
It's not for the artists. That's their business. And yeah, they might have good clientele, or that the hyperbole of art, a duct tape banana to a wall. It's just like, it's the hyperbole of it. It's just basically they're selling the idea of art. They're not selling art, and they're not promoting artists.
The idea of art, that's the best way to put it. You're right. They're selling the idea of it and not the actual art. Wow. Do you have any pets?
I do. I have little rats.
You have little rats?
I have little rats. They're like, I can't have dogs or cats because I have a glass studio and I can't have glass in paws. So I would love a dog. Absolutely. My husband and I go back and forth on this all the time, but we travel so much. It's not, art shows would have to have a dog mascot. And not all art shows are too keen on that. So I got these cute little rats, and they're trainable. They play fetch, they spin, they do some stuff, they snuggle. They're like miniature dogs.
Are you serious? What are they called? Like, what's the name of these? I love animals, so.
Yeah, they're just regular fancy rats, fancy feeder rats. I mean,
Really?
some people feed them to snakes, and I just happen to love them. And they only live about 2 years.
Oh, okay, kind of like a hamster or something.
Yeah. And when you get a little group of them, it's called a mischief. Now, who doesn't like a mischief?
Oh, that's so awesome. I didn't know that. And then you actually taught them to fetch?
Yeah, they learn. They are very smart. There was this article written that the scientists actually made them little cars, and they have these little wires, and when they grab the cars, they go to the right or to the left, and they actually drove these cars. Rats drove these cars to get treats. So you can teach them to drive. You can teach them to play hide and seek. They're so very intelligent.
Are they affectionate?
They're very affectionate. I have some that crawl right up over here. This is actually my rat hoodie. I have a little hood back here that you can find a little rat hanging out chillaxing. They boggle, their little eyes go back and forth when you pet them, and they snuggle. And yeah, they're just the coolest little animals ever. Most people are like, ew, rats, but I'm just like, yeah, meet my rat. Tell me, they're just like, there's such a stigma. Well, I happen to like pushing the envelope anyway, so.
Hey, I'm all for pushing the envelope. No, I love animals. I need to look more into rats too. I don't need to end up at the zoo because right now, finding all these things different out from different people and the type of pets they have, I almost had a pet squirrel, but it didn't make it. But I would be having a squirrel right here right now. And
squirrels are awesome. Any kind of rodent, though, I'll let you know, they chew. And they will chew. So that's in their nature, and they're not going to chew. So if you value your items more than anything, don't get any kind of rodent, squirrel, rat, hamster.
I have cats, so I can't.
Yeah. I mean, cats and rats, but I mean, yeah, stick with your cats. If you can have cats, stick with them. They're awesome.
Nice. So do they get along? I thought cats.
They can. They can.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah,
I like that. I'm like a big fan of the Dodo channel.
Yes, you'll see they have cats and rats on there that that they're pets, because if you have one single rat, they need to have other companionship of their same species. So you can't just have one rat. You have to have like a group, at least 2 or 3, because it's better for them. So if you have one rat, then you'll have to pair them with a cat or a dog or some sort of companionship of the furry variety, so they have some way to snuggle, communicate, to interact with. Like if you were, just plucked from Earth and on an alien planet, you'd be like, okay, these guys are nice there. They have everything I want and need, but I have nobody to talk to.
Wow.
And, it's like, then you're depressed, right? You have nobody to communicate to. That would be like kind of messed up.
Right, that would be. That's just things we never think about.
I've got like a little bingo ball thing, or just like stir up my pot and be like, what comes out?
So one more question before we go.
Okay.
What's your favorite pastime, your lazy thing to do that you enjoy the most?
I would have to say fishing if I'm not in my studio, because I do have a husband and I need to feed and water him in return sometimes. We like fishing. So we do kayak fishing, canoe fishing. Take me to the lake. Sometimes we'll fill my cup because it's like I'm away from everything, and the water and being in nature is where else you'll find me. I don't really watch TV, so I get to do art, and then every so often I have to go fishing. Well, not have to, but we'll go fishing with my husband because it's something different. And then we like to, he's a naturalist. He's an arborist. He was protecting a 146-acre nature sanctuary.
Oh, wow.
So he needs to be in nature.
I love nature. I collect everything.
Yep. So it was so delightful to talk to you, sweetheart. Thank you for the opportunity.
We have to do a story time next. We have to. I need to hear one of your crazy stories because I know you have a bazillion things to tell me. You've traveled so many places.
Yeah.
Yes. But thank you, and until next time, Dawn, you take care and you keep creating.
You too. Thank you so much. You have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.